Most traders don't fail because they're stupid. They fail because they're following advice that sounds smart, but destroys them psychologically. And nowhere is this more obvious than in the obsession with 3-to-1 risk-reward ratios. You've heard this 100 times. Never risk more than you can make. Always aim for at least 3-to-1. Sounds logical, right? Risk $100 to make $300. You only need a 25% win rate to break even. The math checks out. The reality does not. Because today, I'm going to show you exactly why the trading rule that everyone worships, the sacred 3-to-1 ratio, is actually one of the biggest traps for retail traders. And why a simple 1-to-1 system quietly outperforms it in actual execution, psychology, and long-term survival. We're going to break down the math, the psychology, the neuroscience, the prop firm implications, and the real-world performance. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why professional firms aren't hunting 3-to-1 setups all day, but retail traders are blowing accounts trying to. So let's start with the question nobody asks. Can you emotionally survive what a 3-to-1 system actually demands of you? Why 3-to-1 sounds smart but fails in reality. Let's take two traders. Jason trades a 3-to-1 system. He risks $100 to make $300. His win rate is 34%. Amira trades a 1-to-1 system. She risks $100 to make $100. Her win rate is 54%. On a spreadsheet, both systems are profitable. If you show it to a mathematician, they'll nod. Yep, positive expected value. If you show it to an actual trader, they'll laugh because the spreadsheet ignores the part of trading that kills people. Losing streaks. When Jason tells you he wins 34% of the time, here's what that really means. He loses like crazy. He loses often. He loses repeatedly. He loses long enough to question his entire existence. A 34% win rate means he loses 2 out of every 3 trades. That is a recipe for routine psychological torture. You know what's not rare for him? 5 losses in a row, 6 losses in a row, 7 losses in a row. 8? That's a normal Thursday. Meanwhile, Amira, with her 54% win rate, wins more often than she loses. Her losing streaks are shorter, less frequent, and far less emotionally destructive. That difference alone, before we talk about any math, is why most traders who try 3-to-1 ratios never make long enough to see the rewards. They quit before the edge plays out, not because they lack discipline, but because they're fighting a psychological battle they were never designed to win. The losing streak psychology nobody warns you about. Here's what actually happens inside your mind during a 3-to-1 losing streak. Loss number 3. Weird, but okay. Loss number 5. Did the market change? Is something off? Loss number 7. I need to retest everything. Something is broken. Loss number 9. Maybe I'm a terrible trader. Maybe I should stop. Loss number 10. This system sucks. Let me try something new.
And here's the devastating punchline. Nothing is wrong. Nothing changed. This is exactly how a 34% win rate system behaves. But your brain doesn't care about math. Your brain cares about patterns, threats, and survival. And losing 6, 7, or 8 times in a row fires up the same neural circuits that activate during physical danger. Heart rate spikes, adrenaline floods, decision-making collapses. MIT found that repeated losses impair the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for rational thinking, and activate the amygdala, the fear center. In plain English, the more you lose, the dumber you get, and the more scared you become. Meanwhile, Amira's 1-1 system avoids this psychological meltdown. She wins often enough that her brain stays stable. She gets rewarded frequently enough to maintain clarity. She never spirals. It's not about math. It's about biochemistry. Reward prediction error, the hidden trading killer. Your brain does not release dopamine when you win. It releases dopamine when you win more often than expected. And here's the problem with the 3-1 system. Your brain expects to win after 2 or 3 losses, but a 3-1 system routinely loses 8 times before its next win. That's a dopamine drought, a psychological winter, a complete collapse of the reward system that keeps you disciplined. A 1-1 system, however, gives your brain a steady rhythm of wins. Not huge wins, but frequent wins. Frequent reinforcement keeps you calm, clear, strategic, functional. A 3-1 system starves you. A 1-1 system stabilizes you. Trading is not about maximizing profit. It's about maximizing survivability. You cannot survive if your brain is in constant threat mode. The winner's effect. Why frequent wins change everything. Neuroscientist John Coates studied traders on Wall Street and discovered something astonishing. When traders win, their testosterone levels increase. This sharpens pattern recognition, decision-making, and risk assessment. Winning literally makes you trade better. But here's the catch. You need to win frequently to trigger this effect consistently. Which system gives you frequent wins? A 1-1 system. Which system gives you occasional dramatic wins, but long periods of failure? A 3-1 system. Jason, the 3-1 trader, rarely experiences the winner's effect. He spends most of his time swimming in cortisol, the stress hormone, which reduces cognitive performance. Amira, the 1-1 trader, experiences a positive feedback loop. She wins, she trades better, she wins more. Jason loses, becomes stressed, makes bad decisions, and loses more. Same expected value, completely different psychological outcomes. Equity curves, smooth versus chaotic. This is where things get very obvious. A 1-to-1 system produces a staircase-like equity curve. Small bumps, small dips, but generally up. A 3-to-1 system produces a roller coaster. Long, painful drops, followed by occasional, huge spikes, followed by more painful drops. Which curve can you realistically stick with for months, years? The answer is always the smoother curve. There's even a metric for this, the ulcer index, literally named because volatile equity curves give you ulcers. Low win rate systems, like 3-to-1 systems, score 2 to 3 times higher on this index, meaning they are 2 to 3 times more painful to trade. You can't stick to what you can't stomach. Consistency beats theoretical greatness. Prop firm challenges expose the truth. Let's talk about the prop firm world. You get a $100,000 account, you can't draw down more than 10%. One bad streak, and you're done. Jason, the 3-to-1 trader, risks 1% per trade. During a normal 30-day challenge, he might hit an 8-loss streak. That's an 8% drawdown. He's 1 or 2 losses away from failing, not because he's bad, but because his system is inherently volatile. Meanwhile, Amira's worst losing streak is maybe 4 or 5 losses. She draws down 4% or 5%. Still far from the 10% limit. Monte Carlo simulations consistently show 1-to-1 systems with 50 to 60% win rates pass prop firm challenges around 65 to 70% of the time. 3-to-1 systems pass around 35 to 40% of the time. Same risk per trade, same discipline, same trader. Different psychological load, different survivability. Trade frequency, the silent advantage. A 3-to-1 system needs very specific market conditions, perfect setups, clean structure, strong momentum. They don't show up often. A 1-to-1 system, every pullback, every breakout, every good level, every trend continuation. More frequency equals more reps. More reps equals more data. More data equals faster learning. Jason takes 8 trades per month. Amira takes 25. After 6 months, Jason has maybe 50 trades. Amira has 150. Whose stats are more reliable?
Whose system is more testable? Who adapts faster? High frequency plus a high win rate gives you a feedback loop that accelerates mastery. Low frequency plus low win rate gives you random results that take forever to interpret. What the pros actually do. Retail traders obsess over risk-reward ratios. Professionals don't. SMB Capital, DRW, Jane Street, none of them push 3-to-1 as a rule. Most of their strategies hovering around 1-to-1 to 1.5-to-1. Why? Because they care about consistency, execution, volatility control, psychological stability, and scalability.
Not flashy theoretical math. Always aim for 3-to-1 is a retail myth because it sounds smart. But in the real world, strategies must be tradable, repeatable, and psychologically sustainable. A good system is one you can execute forever, not one that looks good on a spreadsheet. When 3-to-1 actually makes sense. I'm not saying 3-to-1 is bad, I'm saying it's misused. 3-to-1 makes sense when you're swing or position trading. You're trading large, higher time frame structures. You have back-tested data. You can tolerate long losing streaks. You understand the psychological demands. You size smaller to reduce volatility. But as a default day trading or prop firm method, it is one of the fastest ways to burn out. The real question? Here's the truth. The best system is not the one with the best math. It's the one you can execute consistently without breaking down. And the 1-to-1 system gives you more wins, shorter losing streaks, smoother equity curves, faster learning, better psychology, stronger discipline, higher prop firm pass rates, lower emotional volatility. That's why 1-to-1 quietly beats 3-to-1 for the vast majority of retail traders. You don't need to be perfect, you just need a system that keeps you in the game long enough to let your edge work. 3-to-1 looks sexy. 1-to-1 wins in reality. So the next time someone says, never take anything less than a 3-to-1, ask them, how many trades have you actually taken? How many 8-loss streaks have you survived? How many prop firms have you passed? The ones who last know the truth. It's not about risk-reward, it's about survivability. And the 1-to-1 system wins that battle every time.